Hello, everybody, and welcome to my version of the top 10 James Bond video games ever made. Now, this may be opinion based a little bit, but I mean, that's the point. I mean, we're not going off stats and everybody else's likings. This is my personal opinion of it. If you disagree, it's okay. But I thought I'd throw out top 10 of my favorite James Bond games. So without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 10 is one of the more recent James Bond games, and that is GoldenEye Reloaded. This is the 2010 release of it. It first came out on the Wii, and then followed by a PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 release in 2011. Basically, they knew how everybody loved the original GoldenEye, and they wanted to try and make sales off of that, basically. So, I mean, like I said, it's not a terrible game. I mean, it's fun to go through the story mode. I mean, they have Daniel Craig, as the James Bond instead of Pierce Brosnan, which is a little weird, and they have, they have Judi Dench, and they try and make it similar and stuff, and I mean, it's alright. It's okay. It's a decent game. Gameplay's pretty fun. Going through some of that old-time stuff, it gives you a little bit of remnants of the past. But, yeah, story mode was alright. Multiplayer, it was okay. There were only, the 10 multiplayer maps. A couple different game modes, but the thing with the James Bond games online is there's really usually like 2 game modes that you can play that people are actually on and playing, and that's like Team Deathmatch and Free For All. Other game modes look cool, but there's just not enough people actually playing these games that you can play those cool game modes. And of course they do the classic Bond series characters as playable characters, which is cool, which I really like. But yeah, it was alright. Decent game. Next was number 9, which is 007 Legends. This game is actually the most recent Bond game released. This came out in November 2012 to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. This game featured basically it was celebrating James Bond, 50 years of James Bond. So in order to do that, their single-player campaign was basically they took a movie out of each of the 6 characters, or 6 actors that played the character. So for Sean Connery, the mission was from GoldenEye, or not GoldenEye, Goldfinger, George Lazenby on Her Majesty's Secret Service, Roger Moore, Moonraker, Timothy Dalton, License to Kill, Die Another Day for Pierce Brosnan, and then downloadable content was Skyfall with Daniel Craig. Now, Daniel Craig played all the Bonds and all these. Obviously, you can't have actually all the old guys come back and do voice acting, so I mean, that's kind of a bummer, but it didn't really matter. I mean, it was really cool how you could play all these different movies with, the characters that played them, Goldfinger, and have actually Goldfinger and Oddjob, and Moonraker having Jaws, and Die Another Day, and all those movies. It was really cool to play through that. I mean, in that sense, I mean, there wasn't like one complete story, obviously. I mean, it was just those 6 separate missions, different stories amongst themselves. But I mean, it was still kind of cool visiting that. And gameplay was pretty normal for those James Bond games. And they also had modern weapons. They basically modernized all those missions too. They didn't like take it back in time. They modernized Goldfinger, modernized, Moonraker and all that. Kind of make it more modern, so it's not back in the 70s and 80s. All that kind of good stuff. Also, I think it wasn't introduced in this game, but they had the MI6 Ops missions, which were basically like these little challenges that you could try and do. It's kind of like it's hard to explain what they're like extra missions. There are assault ones, elimination ones, and stealth ones, and defense ones. Just kind of small little missions that you can try and do to earn like stars or whatever. Also, multiplayer was, it was pretty fun. Like I said, they had a lot of interesting game modes, but there's only like 2 that people actually will play because there's just not enough people online. But they also introduced like a prestige system that like extra stuff became available, but it was really cool. Like I said, they have a lot of gadgets and guns and playable characters from old films. It was really cool. I mean, I thought they did well on that part at least. It's just the fact that nobody plays the game enough to make it be really fun. So next is number 8, which is 007 Racing, released on the PlayStation 1 way back when, in 2000, I believe. Yeah, it was kind of just a fun little racing game that you could use the James Bond cars, and I mean, they had little missions and stuff, but it had Q in it and whatnot. But yeah, it's just basically you driving around in cars, shooting up stuff and whatnot. It was pretty fun. It's well deserving of its number 8 spot. Not really too much to talk about it. I mean, like I said, it was just going around doing little missions in the cars with your different types of Bond vehicles. I mean, there was offline split screen. That was pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, not too bad. Pretty fun game. Going on to number 7 is GoldenEye Rogue Agent. Now, some may argue this isn't a Bond game because you're not playing Bond, but I mean, this guy's kind of like supposed to be a Bond in training, and obviously he fails and gets kicked out of MI6, and Mr. Art Goldfinger recruits him, and you kind of join up with Goldfinger, and you have to go against his rival Dr. No. And it's really cool. It includes Pussy Galore, Oddjob, Xenia Onatop, and Scaramanga as your main dude for your eye special abilities, which are pretty intense, but in a sense kind of unrealistic. And I mean, not all of them were that helpful. I mean, there were a couple helpful abilities that you got, but nothing too crazy. But I really liked the missions in this. I mean, it was a really fun game. The guns are really cool. You can hold people like hostage and then throw them. They had like little traps and stuff around on the maps when you were playing a single player that you could like trap people through a trap door and they can fall and die. I mean, just having all these characters and kind of tell like a different type of story, and you're kind of on the bad side instead of the good side. I mean, it was really cool and really funny. You kind of see kind of how it works on the evil side, and like I said, all the characters are really cool. And it also helped the multiplayer out, because there were all these cool maps, and every map had at least like one little activated trap. And it was really cool because they they did some GoldenEye maps, but I mean, it was mostly just random maps like Carver's Press, Bathhouse, Dr. No's Reactor. I mean, you were on the Golden Gate Bridge as well. I mean, it was really cool. I mean, I thought it was a really cool game, cool multiplayer, cool single player. Unfortunately, the sequel got canceled. There was actually a sequel originally planned, but due to poor sales, they didn't go on with it, which is kind of sad, because I thought it was really fun. Should have had more game sales. I'm sure it would have had a sick-ass sequel, because they could have added more characters to it. And gosh, I wish that would have been a sequel. But anyway, yeah, that's GoldenEye Rogue Agent.